This is Evolutionary Radio. This is your host, Trevor Kouritzin. As always, my co-host, Steve Smee, is joining me.
Good evening, fellas. How's it going tonight?
We got another really good guest for you guys. Joining us tonight is IFBB Pro, Derek Lunsford. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Trevor, Steve.
So, Derek, you're a relatively new pro. I'm sure most of our listeners have heard of you, but I think you've only been competing 4 years. Is that correct?
Yep. I started back in 2015 was the first year I competed, and so this will be my fourth year.
So for listeners, give us a little bit of your background. Like, what got you interested in this crazy sport we call bodybuilding in the first place?
Yeah, so I like to explain it like this. A long story short. So I've always been into sports. I was a wrestler, and I trained for wrestling. I put my heart and soul into it when I was in high school, and here in the States, I ended up being a collegiate wrestler, and I realized very quickly in college, like, there was never going to be a future for me in wrestling. I mean, I wrestled against the best, but the passion just died, and, like, it's kind of the same similar story as, like, Phil Heath, how he was a basketball player in college and then realized, hey, like, this isn't for me, but there's something else out there for me. But one thing that stayed true, or two things. One is that I always loved to train. So when I transferred schools that didn't have wrestling, I quit wrestling, but I was still in school, you could always find me in the gym training for a couple hours because I just loved it. I loved training more than anything. And at the time, I was getting so, like, eaten up inside because I couldn't figure out, like, what I wanted to do with my life, like what career I wanted to have. And the other thing that's always been true about me is I've always had this just crazy burning desire inside me to be successful in something. Like, I've always wanted to make something myself and do something that was bigger than, like, what anyone could imagine. And so I'm like, how do I, like, get to that level of success, you know, and enjoy what I'm doing? What is there out there for me? And I'm like, you know what? I started trying to, like, it wasn't a party, but I tried to, like, go out to different parties and drink and things a couple times in college, and it just wasn't for me. I actually hated it. Like, it wasn't fun to me. I just would rather be in the gym. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to find a focus like I had for wrestling. I always tell people, like, I watched a motivational video on YouTube. I just typed in bodybuilding motivation, and instantly, like, I got, like, hyped to go work out. And I was like, you know what? I seen all these pros go by, like, and all these motivational quotes, people talking. And I was like, literally right then and there, I just go, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. I went to the gym, told all my friends, everyone in the gym, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And I was every bit of 150 pounds at the time. And everyone was just like, oh, okay. But I was like, I have to have a focus. I have to have something that's going to drive me every day to be my best or make me a better me. So then I decided to compete. And once I did well my first year, I seen that there was potential for me to have a career, do very well through the NPC and IFBB Pro League. So I went for it. And to be honest with you, I did prepping the first year, and I didn't know if I really wanted to do it, but I felt like it was a calling to me. And since then, I've learned to adjust and become better at it, at prepping and making bodybuilding a part of my life instead of making it part of bodybuilding.
So, Derek, in 4 years, you went from being a wrestler to now being one of the best bodybuilders in the world. Like, a lot of people are predicting you're going to beat Flex Lewis this year at the 212 Mr. Olympia. You did that in 4 years.
Right.
Most guys in 4 years, they still look like crap. They don't even look like they work out. So what I want to do is, what would you attribute your immense success to? Do you think it was the fact that you just were so passionate about your goal, you were visualizing it daily, like you were 110% when, you know, most people are kind of like 80% and they don't really train that hard? Or would you say it's genetics? Like what would you attribute your immense success to?
You hit the nail on the head. I don't think people realize I constantly 24/7, 365 do not stop thinking about bodybuilding. Like I am always thinking about my next meal. I'm always thinking about what I'm training that day, getting my cardio in, getting enough rest, which I think a lot of times people overlook the rest and like hydration, things like that. I never miss a beat. I haven't missed a beat since the day I said I'm going to be a bodybuilder. And then, yes, obviously genetics play a huge, huge role. So combining the work ethic, the discipline, and the proper guidance, which we can get in that here in a second, along with genetics, has created this quick, whatever you want to call this, quick, I don't want to call it success, but like this quick upscale of my bodybuilding career. And one more thing I have to attribute to 100%, it's my calling from God. I'm a very faith-driven person, and my purpose in bodybuilding is beyond titles. It's more than that to me. It's to be a good role model, a positive role model, and just do what's right and lead by a positive example. That's my number one goal.
Steve, I know you want to jump in, but I just want to ask Derek a quick question. It's something I'm really passionate about too. Yeah. Derek, are you a Christian?
I'm a Christian.
Awesome, man.
I talk more about my faith in Christ than I do I'm a Christian. But yes, does that make sense to you? Because I think a lot of people say I'm a Christian versus my faith in Christ, Jesus Christ who died for me, and all the Christian beliefs, yes. But I speak more about my faith in Christ than I do I'm a Christian. Yes, I am a Christian, and I believe that's what He's called me to do.
I agree with you completely, and I think Christians in particular get way too hung up on denominations and
exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly. Yeah.
Steve, I'll let you jump in because I know you really want to go.
Yeah, Derek. So tell us a little bit more about your background. Where did you grow up? Is your family very athletic? Do you have like relatives who are also bodybuilders or maybe semi-pro or pro athletes? And where did you go to college? Like, you don't have to say where, the college if you don't want to, but just like what part of the country, because I'm curious to hear your history and your background.
It's really fun. I'm the only person in my family was sports driven. Neither parent ever did sports. Grandparents, no sports. I would say my stepfather, my step siblings did sports, but they weren't like passionate like I was. So I'm the only one that did sports, or anything, or ever worked out really. Well, my mom, she was always on some fad diet or doing some like the old school like VHS tape workouts in the living room. You know what I'm talking about?
Did you ever do 8-minute abs? That was a sick.
Every morning when I was getting up to go to grade school, she'd be in there and I'd be like laying on the couch all asleep. And she'd be doing those stupid workouts and then have some stupid bad diet she was trying for weeks. And I think that was a big influence. But I feel like thinking about, comparing here, I feel like my story is very similar to like Jay Cutler's story in the sense that we're both from really small towns and we really had nothing to do besides go to the gym or make our own fun. Like I lived out in the country of little old Indiana, small town Indiana, and it was either be sports driven or really nothing growing up. Like there was nothing to really cling to for self-development. And like I said, at a young, early age, I've always just wanted to be somebody better. And not that I'm better than anyone, but I just wanted to maximize my full potential in something in life. And there was nothing to do besides go to the gym and work hard at my sports. And, when I was growing up, if I ever got in trouble for not listening, because I was not really a bad kid growing up. I never partied or did anything bad, right? But if I just like frustrated my parents by not listening, take out the trash or do dishes or something like that. I didn't get grounded from going to like birthday parties or going out with my friends ever. Not one time. I got grounded from wrestling practice and the gym. And even when I was in school, there was times where I would get hall passes to go to the bathroom. I would go up to the gym and train during that hall pass. It's just crazy how passionate I was about that. But yeah, little old Indiana, small town, not a lot goes on. Southern Indiana, Pittsburgh. And then I went to college in Tennessee to wrestle, Cumberland University. Very, very small private school, and I just didn't, it wasn't for me. Came back to Indiana and have lived there for like 5 years in Indiana, and then I moved here to Tampa just recently, last few months.
I think what you said about that small town upbringing was dead on.
Yeah.
And I think you do remind me a lot of Jay Cutler. Not like you don't look anything like him, but
Right.
personality-wise, because
Right.
me and Steve, we talk about this off air all the time, and that the problem is now is that you're a victim of your surroundings, right? So most people
Mm-hmm.
on Planet Fitness, they see some guy curling the 50s and they're like, holy smokes, that guy, he's training hard. Like, I can only do the 30s. Like,
Right.
most people don't even know what hard training is because they've never seen it.
Right.
Right? And it's only when you go to like a real bodybuilding gym. And I was fortunate to grow up in Edmonton, Alberta. I worked out at Hardcore Gym, and
Yeah.
literally you would walk in the door and someone would be like screaming at the top of their lungs, and you'd walk in and they'd have like 8 plates per side on,
Yeah.
on like squatting, rock bottom, and their training partner would be like screaming like another one, and like they'd
Right.
rack their weight and throw up. Like,
Well, I tell you what, I think the biggest influence is how I developed a stronger work ethic, maybe, or I don't know. I'm still. You can always keep improving, but one, I think I definitely had a great coach in high school, wrestling coach he was I think a D2 football player. They won nationals. A very good football player who he was the last cut to go pro, or he was going to be my gym teacher, and he ended up being my gym teacher. Unfortunately, millions to do this, but he godsend in my life. So anyway, he was a big influence to push me to my full potential in high school wrestling, and then going off to college to wrestle for the short time that I did was an eye opener to what like the next level training was. And it's not the same type of training as bodybuilding, obviously, but it definitely takes that discipline and like that brutal sacrifice that, give it your all, just, breaking yourself mentally and physically. So that definitely helped by going to college to wrestle for sure. But I tell you what, besides that, my eyes were always glued to YouTube. Now, that might sound like a bad thing, but I was always watching the best. I would type in Jay Cutler chest workout, Phil Heath arms, Ronnie Coleman legs. Like, I was watching the guys who were the best. And the thing is with me, I always believe that there's similar characteristics in successful people and champions. It's not just this is what they're doing. Like, this is what Jay Cutler eats. This is what workouts he does. No. I want to know how he carries himself, on a daily basis, the way he speaks. So I just want to know everything about him. And if you look at people that are successful in different ways, it might sound silly and controversial here in the States, but I even have studied Donald Trump with how successful he is, and just getting to know who they are as people the best that I can from the information that's available, and trying to nitpick the good and the bad out of who they are and develop the best me. I'm not trying to mimic them. I'm just trying to make me a better me, if that makes sense.
Have you ever read or watched The Secret, Derek?
I have.
Okay, because a lot of the stuff you're saying is that, and it's amazing how, you know, a certain percentage of the population is successful and everyone else isn't.
I don't think it's a coincidence.
Yeah, I don't think it is either, because you see in football games, for example, I'm a big NFL fan, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, they're always down by like 20 points, and like, you know, they're going to come back and win. Everyone knows, and they always do. And it's just like amazing
mindset.
Yeah.
You know, I'm even like talking to other pro bodybuilders, and they're so concerned about the show. And I know it sounds silly, like, oh, that's what we're prepping for. Absolutely. They're so concerned about not losing but winning, and that's not my goal. And I was about to touch on it earlier, and it slipped my mind. We started talking about something else. My goal is not to win the Olympia. My expectation from the standard that I set is to win the Olympia. My goal is to be a great role model. You see what I'm saying? I already expect me to set the standard to be the best in the world. You see? So it's a flip of the mindset of, ooh, do I think I can win? Ooh, I hope I win. I got to show up with my best. No, I already expect to do that. Now, where the cards fall, let it be. You know, it's out of my control. So it takes the stress off me. And then in turn, if I'm reaching closer towards my real goal, which is being a positive role model, then I'm winning. And as long as I'm improving as a physically as a bodybuilder, I'm winning. Like, and I have no stress. Like I said, just like, and this is something else I believe too, is that a long time ago, someone told me that making money, the amount of money that you make, is like shavings of a carpenter's clippers. And I don't find that to be completely true, but basically what that means is it's a side effect. It's what happens because of what you do. So in terms of bodybuilding, I already know that I'm giving my 100% all to my diet, my training, my cardio, my sleep, everything there. The potential as far as the genetics, like we talked about, and the calling from God, all this combined, I already expect this side effect to happen, which is earn the title. You see what I'm saying?
Surrounding yourself with positive people, Derek, is that important to you? And how have you been able to accomplish that over the course of your life? Because people are poison. Some people are poison. Like if you go outside and you have one neighbor who's like screaming at each other, and you have another neighbor who's beating their kids and stuff, and if you're surrounded with all that negativity, it's gonna screw you up. So it's like, what have you done to?
Let it in.
If you let it in.
Like for me, I can't say that I don't let things bother me. Sometimes everybody does, but realizing that it's not your problem, and all you can do is, if you can be a benefit to them. One, again, I pray for them. Even people that try to bring me down, because, you know, people try to bring others down directly. You know, I pray for them. And if I can, you know, do something even very minuscule to, like, improve their life or their happiness, then that's what I look for, versus how are they affecting me. They're not affecting me. They're not. It has nothing to do with my life. Ignore it the best you can, you know, just don't internalize it and let it bother you. And as far as your friends and the people you surround yourself with, that's 100% who you choose. You know, you can shut people out or you can let people in. I like to always give people chances, you know, no matter who you are. Like, there's been, I won't name names, I was just messaging him a minute ago, but guys on the internet who are very, very popular for stirring controversy. I've met certain people, and they're actually really good, like really genuinely good people. I wouldn't say, you know, I call them out. I just told them, I said, I don't agree with what you're doing online, but I know deep down, like, you're actually a good guy. You are. But anyway, I just don't let things get to me. I don't know. I stay focused and try to be the best me. And if I feel confident and I'm doing the right thing and trying to better other people's lives, then I am 100%, and I just want to keep going in that direction.
Derek, how old are you? Because you're definitely wise beyond your age.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't always feel like that, but I turned 25 last month.
Wow. I'm only 26, but I mean,
Are you?
Yeah, I'm 26.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
No, Derek, you're very good with like
Steve's
philosophy
a
and
grandpa
stuff.
over there.
Yeah, I'm almost 40, but yeah, you're very good with philosophy and stuff. But I've always had those core,
Yeah.
beliefs that you've had even before all these self-help,
Right.
movies and books like The Secret came out. And then when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, I've been already doing that. So
Right.
it's something, in there as well. But just it's like the roller coaster, a domino effect of positive things happening to you, negative things happening to you. So, but you remind me too, the way you're talking of Arnold. I don't know if you've read a lot about Arnold, but he used to
And
feel the same
what I'm
way.
saying,
Yeah.
like, there's just something similar about all those people, and the thing is you might think I'm like a whack job, somebody crazy when I'm saying this kind of stuff if you don't understand. But the thing is if you give it a chance, if you really have to internalize it, believe it, and think this way for a while, and let life play out. And as you do, once you see it actually works in that way, you're gonna go, holy crap! Like that's life changing, literally.
Derek, the biggest difference between you and our current society is that you're being proactive. As a society, we wait until failure to make a change, right? So it's someone has a heart attack, they finally make the diet change their body's been begging them to do for 5 years, right? Their wife slams them with some divorce papers. They finally, pick up a book on marriage that they should have read 5 years ago, right? Their daughter won't talk to them anymore. They finally start reading up on how to be a good father, something they should have done 5 years ago.
Right.
What's different about you is you got this goal, you got this vision, you got this dream. You're not saying, hey, I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. I'm going to waste 10 years being stubborn and trying to figure stuff out on my own. You're basically going, I'm going to seek out the smartest people ever. I'm not going to make the same mistakes as them. I'm going to save so much time by associating myself with the best, the most positive, the smartest people in this industry. And
100%. I just said that the other day. I said I've always tried to put myself in a position to win or at least better myself. And whatever that is, I've always, like, if I had to move, I would move. If I had to stay, I would stay. Whatever I had to do, be around the people that were going to influence me the best, I would do that. I'd always, if I had to switch jobs, take a slight pay cut for a little bit, just because it was going to, in the long term, put me ahead. Why wouldn't I do that? It just makes sense, So I don't know if this is what we're trying to transition to or not, but that's why I moved down here to Tampa to work with Ben here at MI40.
So we got a lot of listener questions about that in particular. Tell us about your current team, who's training you. I know you're working with Ben. Give us all the details of that.
Okay, so first and foremost, I wanted to make it clear that James Brown is my coach, my real number one coach. James Brown has been my coach since day one. He's like a brother to me. I met him when I transferred schools in college, and he owned a little supplement store at the time in my little hometown of Indiana. And we hit it off in the gym, and when I came into a supplement store, he'd help me out. And, again, I was like weighing 150 pounds, and, the guy just – he took me under his wing, and he showed me how to diet and everything, and we've been great ever since. So James has been the biggest help in my life for sure, huge godsend. So thank you to James. But Ben is the new icing on the cake, taking my training to the next level, giving me longevity of health and bodybuilding. And just overall improving. The way he has me training now is just so much more methodical than what I had been doing in the past on my own. Because I did my own training, and then the same I would do the same thing every week. I would hit chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, legs on Wednesday, et cetera, et cetera. And it was the same thing. Now that I'm training down here with Ben, he'll literally look at me every day. And throughout the full workout, he's always looking at me and say, okay, he needs this. This is where, like just basically almost like how Arnold said, like, adding clay to this area and, like, if this needs to be brought up, okay, we're going to add a little clay to this and make it art. We don't necessarily call it art here in my 40, but it's just the smart. We train smart, and then we apply our work ethic. So it's just there's not really a way to say this is the style that we train, like heavy or time and attention or more reps. Like it's all of the above, whatever is necessary for that day. And my gosh, like, he has taught me so much, and my physique has clearly changed more in the last 3 months than it has all year, like the last 2 years. Like him and James.
How did you link up with Ben?
Yeah, so I won the Tampa Pro last year after turning pro at USA's. And when I was down here in Tampa, I was offered to come to his gym in my 40. And I was wanting to spend some time with my girl, and so we ended up going to a different gym and training and spending time together. And I regretted it since then. He came up to me at the animal booth, the animal cage at the Arnold Classic. And he's like, hey, man, I just want to let you know, people will recognize what you did last year, going to Olympia, placing top 5, rookie of the year. And, just congratulations, man. And I'm like, wow, thanks. I was like, hey, I remember I got invited to come to your gym. And I regret not going because I wish I would have checked it out. He goes, hey, come down. And I said, really? He goes, yeah, send me a message. Come down whenever you want. Yeah, just come down and check it out. I said, okay. I got back home from the Arnold Classic, and I sent him a message. And he's like, yeah, if you want to come down, just let me know when. And I said, okay. I booked a flight for me and my girl for 5 days. Kind of explained to her that it was like a mini vacation, but it wasn't. And so we came down together, and I think she knew right away, I was interested in moving. But I wanted to get to know Ben, and he put me through the most brutal leg workout I've ever been through in my life when I first got down here the first day. And he was like, yeah, that's about a 3 out of 10 workout. And I was like, oh, my God.
Tell us a little bit more about that leg workout.
It was beyond 3 hours after I just got off the flight at 7 p.m. And normally in the past, I would do 3 or 4 sets, including the first warm-up set, and move on with the exercise. We would do 6 to 8 sets after our warm-up sets on every exercise, and we did I don't know. I honestly, half the workout was a blur, and it was awful. It was so bad. I went to the hotel with my girl, and I was like, I have to move here. But I don't even know if I'll be able to handle it once I'm prepping for a show. 'Cause this was off season, I was like, I consider myself the hardest worker. I expect to set the standard to be the best in the world, so I expect to be the hardest worker. And I was like, man, I don't even know if I can handle this. But I was like, I have to do whatever it takes, and I have to put myself in the best position to be my best. So I said, give me another day or 2 of training with Ben and get to know him personally and everyone else. And then I think it was after the 2nd or 3rd day, I think the 3rd day, I ended up signing a lease. I said, I'm moving.
So the workout was very heavy volume. It was, how long did you say it was?
It was over 3 hours. Which has been, most of our workouts this year have been over 3 hours. Is that ideal? No, they've been, since I'm getting leaner and closer to the show, they're more like an hour and a half to 2 hours. But so a little bit more dense, a little bit quicker, more supersets now. But I just knew, again, I can't really explain how the training is. because it's different all the time. It's just always challenging to my body. There's different ways to challenge your body physically, and every day is a different type of challenge. And it's thought out. You can tell it's already thought out before, and then as we're going, he'll make adjustments right then and there with me, and he trains with me every day. And I just knew, if nothing else, he was going to push me harder. And if I could have someone that pushed me harder and was already doing what I was doing before, I would be way better. But now I'm doing something different that's way smarter and harder. So I'm just so thankful for having him.
I love what you said, Derek. I mean, I'm no Ben Pekulski. I'm not near as good of a coach as he is. But one thing I do with all of my clients is I push them out of their comfort zone. And we're all creatures of habit, right? So I have one client, they love to train heavy, low reps. I'll start getting them to do some 20 rep sets of squats. They're going to hate it, but after that workout, they're going to send me a text the next day and be like, oh my goodness, I've never felt my legs so sore. Right?
I tell them sometimes, I'm like at the end of the work, I was like, dude, I hate you sometimes, but dude, I love you at the end of the day. And I guess I can explain it this way. I hope this isn't me saying too much, but he explains it kind of like there's a primer, like a different ways of like a process of training, right? If there's a process of dieting, there's like a process of training. So one step would be like a primer step, priming the muscles, getting your central nervous system to fire the proper muscles. So that mind-muscle connection is important first. Because if you're just throwing weights around and not using proper form and contracting the muscles hard, then there's really not going to be an effect on that muscle. That was my problem with a lot of my weak areas last year and previous years. So primer, strength, and metabolic, okay, and hypertrophy. So those are the four essential like process to training. And depending on where you're at in your prep or like what your goals are, depends on how you're going to stimulate that type of training, right? So in the different ways of progressively overloading the muscle would be, time under tension, weight, and length, depth. So like lengthening your muscle and how short can you get the muscle. So all in all, those are all those concepts, all those theories are combined and implemented in my training on a daily and weekly basis for what is needed for me at this time.
So I'm curious there if you can kind of extrapolate a little more of your training before versus now. Was it? Can you kind of maybe give us some more tidbits on the differences of what you were doing before and getting okay results versus now and getting fantastic results?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I put on 75 pounds of muscle tissue in 3 years. I mean, and stayed pretty proportional, had a good flow to my physique. I wasn't disappointed. I'm just so much more excited now to be training smarter and really know why I'm doing the things I'm doing. Now, before, like I said, I would always YouTube all the best bodybuilders, and I would watch their videos. So I watched a lot of Jay Cutler, and I would put together his workouts, and I would split it up throughout the week, like where I would do like chest one day and shoulders opposite days of the week. I would train legs twice, opposite days of the week, opposite times, like a couple days later. And then back and arms would be on different opposite times of the week, and I'd rest once a week. So train 6 days a week, rest once. And I would also train in the evening, even all the way up to 11, 12 o'clock at night. Now it's almost opposite. I train at 7 o'clock in the morning, first thing, and I train 5 days a week. Essentially, I can tell you that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is crush it days. We go a little bit heavier, whereas Thursday, Friday will be a little bit more supersets and metabolic. Essentially, not exact, but that's how it is now here. And then I take Saturday, Sunday off to just get my central nervous system like wound back down and just stress back down. And it's been working phenomenal. And I don't know, yeah, definitely having a positive mind helps, but I definitely think taking 2 days off, just like relaxing my cardio twice a day, just it's beneficial to like having a positive mind, stress relief, keeping the cortisol down.
Derek, we've had a lot of listener questions. I want to know, what does your diet look like? And then I'm curious, if you're training at 7 a.m., are you training fasted? Are you eating beforehand? What's your like? You don't have to give us like actual like weights and like 60 grams oatmeal, but like, what's your current diet look like right now?
I'll do a little both. Okay, so it usually starts off high, and high for me is if I'm eating 32 to 3,500 calories a day, that's high, and I'm fat. Okay, I don't need that much food. And that's the beginning of like the prep, maybe 16 to 20 weeks out. Now that we are coming up on 6 weeks, I think I'm at like close to about 2,000 calories a day on training days, or maybe just over that. My carbs are moderate for me, which is about a little like 100, just a little over 100 on training days. Non-training days, it's either anywhere from 0 to 50. Depending on how I look, of course. My fats usually stay pretty high until about 10 to 12 weeks out. So it starts off at a little over 100 grams at the beginning of prep of fat. Now it's down to like, not really sure, 40 or something. I don't know, somewhere in a lower range. Protein always stays very high, around 350 or so grams of protein a day. Now, as far as training in the morning, so that was an adjustment that we had to make. I had like a mini meal. So it's like a whey protein, like a scoop of whey protein, like 25 grams, with like 20 to 25 grams of carbs from like cream of rice. So it's very easy to digest and very quick to digest and absorb in the body, along with the protein powder. And then I also have coconut oil, which is very good for the brain and focus and everything. So I have a mini meal before I head to the gym every morning. I'll take my intra carbs, just like 25 grams now. It was 50. After the workout, I will have 75 grams of whey isolate and like 50 grams of carbs. So that's my pre-intra and post-workout meal is the most important nutrition of the day, period. People say first meal, well, pre-workout meal is my first meal. But if I was training in the evening, I would still say that pre, intra, and post are the most important. And intra, if you have the carbs, otherwise I would just do aminos. But yeah, that's before and after workout. That's most important.
I mean, for our listeners, there you have it. I mean, that's not a lot of food. I mean, that just shows what it takes to get into condition. Because, I mean, no one wants to suffer anymore, right? And I'm sure you're hungry, but I mean, that's
I'm starving.
I'm starving. But Rich Piana says you have to eat 10 meals a day to get big.
I mean, I eat 7.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. It's just a joke. Yeah, go ahead.
I eat 7 meals a day, including my pre and post workout. But they're smaller meals. For me, 8 ounces is a snack, and it's like 50 grams of protein. And then most of my meals don't have carbs. And veggies, I'll have like a couple of veggies in my meals. And then a couple of my meals get a little extra coconut oil. But other than that, it's just pretty much just protein and veggies. And yeah, but the thing is, I want people to understand is that I have friends who are bodybuilders who are shredded. And they're literally eating 3,000 calories a day all the way up to the show. Actually, you know what? I don't know if you know my friend Roman Fritz.
Yeah. The German guy. I love him.
Dude, I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, man, like, I don't know how you do it. Like, I'm at 300 grams of carbs. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, man, like, this is the lowest I've ever been. And he's He's always shredded. He said his normal carbohydrate consumption, like, and his high is like 11 or 1200 in the off season, and he's still always lean. And then he'll drop it. The lowest he ever goes like 300 grams of carbs. So
if you think he's crazy, man, have you ever seen some of those Jan Morel 10,000 calorie dude? I'd eat his breakfast and then I'd be like, okay, I'm done for the whole day.
You know what's crazy is I could easily eat that too, but I can't. I would keep off that. That's the problem. Post show, it would. I should film how much I eat post show. It's pretty funny. But we try not to overeat because we don't want the stomach to, any bigger than it already is. So, Juan's a great guy, but I don't think it's optimal that he diets that way. I think things need to be a bit more consistent and cleaner. But it works for him, so I'm not gonna hate on him for it.
So I got a couple user questions, Derek. The first one is they want to know, what's your day like? Are you just training and then doing your thing, or do you have a full-time job? We had the last IFBB pro we had on. He said he has a full-time business as well. Do you have anything going on?
Okay, so this isn't a cop-out because I have went to school full-time in college, school full-time, worked full-time, and was a national champion bodybuilder the first year I competed. So I didn't know what I was getting myself into with bodybuilding or anything. And I won junior nationals here in the United States the first year. Last year I had a full-time job. I was a manager at a supplement store. And I had some online clients, which I still have a few online clients. I don't like to coach. I don't promote coaching. I've turned a lot of people down. Now, again, this is not a cop-out. I promised myself when I signed the contract with Animal last year that it was just enough to pay my bills. I said, I will give this 1 year. I will dedicate everything to bodybuilding. Okay, so I've traveled like a madman. I'm traveling this weekend even to guest pose, but I'm doing all the traveling that I can as my job. But other than that, I'm sleeping and training. Eat, sleep, train. Eat, sleep, train. I'm essentially like a monk bodybuilder, like a Dorian, where I create the perfect environment for me to just be my best every day. Now, it's not possible for most people to do that. And again, I was in a position up until this year to where I had to work full time, and I went to school full time. So you know what? You couldn't make it happen because I was cooking chicken in the dorms, drinking protein shakes. Whatever I had to do to be my best at the time, I made it happen. Again, I put myself in a better position by taking a better job, going from a server to working in a retail store as an associate, right? Then I moved up to management, making a little bit better money and making decisions, delegating. And then I took the contract with Animal, and now I'm able to be a full-time bodybuilder. So you have to take things in steps,
So Derek, what do you do in your downtime? Like today, for example, when you're not eating, training, and sleeping, how do you spend the rest of your hours? What are your hobbies? Do you have a dog that you play with? Do you go to the beach? What do you do over there in Tampa?
To be honest with you, man, when I get close to a show like this, I just get so sucked into it that I can't think about anything else. And it works well for me, but I don't do anything. I eat, sleep, and train. Otherwise, my feet are propped up on the couch, and I'm laying here, and it makes me sound lazy. Like I have a lot of emails that I reply to as far as business and clients and things like that. I do some work for Animal and other people, but like I said, like when it comes to prepping for a show, I give myself this much time. Like if it's 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, like whatever, like the prep time I feel like I need to just solely think about bodybuilding, I do that. You know, I'm not trying to be lazy. It's just there's really nothing right now that's a priority over that. So that because that's my top priority, I make it my top priority. That's what I do. And I do everything to do my best. Now, in the future, do I want businesses and to do more? Absolutely. I don't want to be doing this the rest of my life. I want to be out there doing more, and I will be. But for now, I'm creating the best environment to be my best.
You're also providing a source of motivation for people, though, too, Derek. I mean, you're doing podcasts like this. You're on Instagram. You're on social media. Like, you're very accessible.
Yes.
We got two more listener questions for you to finish up the show. So tell us a little bit about your sponsor, Animal. We just had on Chris Tuttle. He speaks extremely well of Animal. He says it's the best sponsor he's ever had. Let us know how you got hooked up with Animal, how it's been.
Okay, so I got hooked up with Animal when I went to Junior Nationals last year. I did not compete, but I just showed up because, like you said, I put myself out there in every opportunity that I can. I want to be an ambassador of sport and the best one that's ever been. That's saying a lot because Jay Cutler, Flex Lewis, those guys are amazing ambassadors. They really are. So I respect them in that. But anyway, I went to Junior Nationals last year for a media company, Maxim Muscle Report, and I was doing some interviews for them and things like that, and just showing my face at the show because I won the overall the year before, and I met Ed Connors there. I knew who he was. He didn't know who I was. So I met him, talked to him for a while. We hit it off. It was great. He's like, yeah, you look like you could be an Animal guy, maybe a muscle tech. Maybe this company. And I already had some companies trying to reach out to me because they see potential in me last year before everything. And I remember Maxim Muscle Report wanted me to put on their shirt. So change the shirt I had on and put on that shirt. And Ed Connors looked over, he goes, come here. And so he took a picture with me and sent it off to all his people that he knows. And he's like, he actually wrote an email that he sent to me to Animal. He said, Derek Lunsford has more potential than Flex Lewis. And I brought Flex Lewis over here and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whoa, like that's a big statement. I'm not even a pro yet. Like, whoa. And maybe I shouldn't reveal that, but I was just like blown away that this guy who just met me was just like, and he, he's sticking his neck on the line. He's a well-known guy like that knows bodybuilding, has helped every bodybuilder in the industry. And so he sends an email to Universal Animal, and they get back to me and they lowballed me and was just like, yeah, we'll sponsor you some supplements. And I was like, dude, I already get that at my retail store. Like, no thanks. Like not to be rude, but like, I just feel like you just totally like, that was like a smack in the face almost to me, and not that, I don't know. It just felt like it was like a wrong thing at the time. And so I let it go. And then I got a message from someone else from Animal saying, hey, like, are you going to respond to like the offer? And I was like, yeah, it just kind of seemed kind of low. And it's like, no, well, like they want you. Like, what would you, let's work something out here. So I got back on and talked to them, and we worked it out. And it was a fair offer this next time. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I said, and I promised to give them my all once I sign with them. And I tell you what, they have shown me nothing but love. And I'm saying this right now, whether I'm with Animal in the future or not, which I would love to be, they have to be the most genuine people working there that there is in the industry. I am telling you that I went to Germany with them and the sales team, the marketing team, the video team, the CEO, we all went out together. And it was like a family. Like, it literally felt like a family. Like, we all just were just ourselves and just had a good time. You know, it just didn't feel like business. It felt like we were all on vacation together. And that was the first time I met a lot of them. And they're just good, genuine people. It's a good, genuine, true company. They're not trying to BS anybody. They're trying to do what's right, give the right information. They don't even want us to sell the product. They want us to say, this is what I use. And they say, if you don't use it, don't say you use it. Even in the pictures with us lifting, they say, can you lift this weight? Like, if it's like if we're just like picking the squat rack up off, you know, on our back, can you lift this? Can you actually do like 8 reps with this weight? And if I say no, then okay, we're not even gonna take a picture with it. You know, so like the products that I say I take. The products that, you know, we don't talk about, we just don't take them. But we don't, you know what I mean? Like, so they're just honest and genuine. They're amazing people, not just an amazing business.
Sounds like a really good company. And I mean, you've got a great roster beside you. I mean, you got Evan Centopani, you got Chris Tuttle, you got Roman Fritz. Like, you must be excited with all that momentum you got behind you.
It's crazy because I was looking up to these guys. I remember walking up and talking to Evan and Frank and getting pictures with them as a fanboy a couple of years ago, and now I'm an athlete with them. It's amazing.
Well, now you're their protege. So our last question, Derek, is we've had quite a few listeners that want to know what's it like doing the Olympia, and how do you not psych yourself out about it?
Oh, I'm not pressured at all. I'm never pressured. Like, that's what's crazy. People think like, oh, it must be scary, it must be intimidating. You know, especially going up against those guys like big time names, Jose Raymond, Flex Lewis. I'm like, that was the least nervous I've ever been was when I was at the Olympia. Because at first, as I was arriving to the Olympia, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is an Olympia competition. I'm in it. Oh my gosh. But when I hit the stage, I knew I was supposed to be there. Like it was just something like you're pulled to be there, and like you just know. And like I say this, you know, a lot, but whenever I placed 5th last year and I seen Flex Lewis getting the trophy, I was looking at the trophy, you know, looking down in the corner of my eye, and I said, I'm gonna remember this moment. And I haven't forgot a single day since then about that. And I've worked my tail off to be the best I can be, because to me, this is my show to lose at this point. No, I'm not trying to step over my boundaries or be disrespectful, but once again, I'm doing everything in my power to be my best. And I think if I'm not my best, they'll be chasing me. Again, no disrespect to Flex, because he's a freaking amazing champion. That dude is undisputed 6-time champ. Has been the best without a doubt. You know, last year included with me competing, but this year will be a night and day difference. And the only thing is, I hope people don't take me the wrong way, is like being overly confident. I'm just not nervous. I'm not pressured. I believe in myself and the capabilities and what I'm the work that I'm putting in, and has nothing to do with anyone else disrespecting them or putting them down, because I think all these guys are amazing. I seriously still look up to these guys in a lot of ways. I just hope that I can be as great of an ambassador as they've been. You know, like I said, I've looked up to Jose and Flex both, them two very much so, since I started bodybuilding. So in a way, I actually want to make them proud. And I've told them that, like, I want to make you guys proud, that if I, in hopes, carry on, you know, that title and the legacy and everything, I hope that I can do that and be that when you guys are gone after this year, and hopefully starting this year.
So Derek, we're at the end of our show here. How can our listeners get to know more about you? I know you said you're not really coaching people anymore. Is there any shout outs you want to do? Do you want to plug any social media outlets? Like, this is kind of your time.
So follow me. Follow me on Instagram at Mr. USA 2017. At MRUSA 2017. That's my Instagram. Also on Facebook, Derek Lunsford. You can check out the MI40 Gyms Instagram and Ben Pekulski's Instagram. Also my coach, JB Prep, James Brown. I definitely have to thank Animal for supporting me. They are amazing. I wouldn't be able to be in this position, like I said, if it wasn't for them. So Universal Animal Pro Tan also has always done my competition tan. They're supporting me. Muscle Potential is my posing trunk sponsor. And this is very important to me. I never forget where I come from. And good old Indiana, my meal prep service now is Cal Kitchen from Indiana, and so you can get your meals prepped for you from them, from Indianapolis, and then also American Mayhem, where they sell now they sell peanut butter and almond butter. They're also from Indiana, so I want to shout them out too. I'm not sponsored by them because of their clothing company. With me being with Animal, it would be a conflict of interest, but their peanut butter and almond butter is phenomenal, and Indiana made.
Cool. So for all of our listeners, I will have all of Derek's social media outlets in the show notes, so you can just copy and paste those. Derek, we really appreciate you coming on. This is an awesome episode. Keep doing your mission. Both me and Steve will be rooting for you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
At least I will be. Steve doesn't really watch bodybuilding.
Thank you.
I'll be watching the play-by-play.
Hey, thank you for having me on, man. If I can do anything for you guys, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm like you said, I'm very accessible, and I want to put myself out there and do more for the community, whether it's for bodybuilding or I just like the greatest thing for me is I love seeing people say, Derek, you inspire me or motivate me to, reach my goals or be better. I don't care what it is, if it's bodybuilding or something else. But if I can just make someone more positive or better themselves, that's my goal right there.
Well, Derek, you're helping a lot of people by doing this interview. My dad's a pastor, and he specializes in addictions. And yeah. So that's why I brought up Christianity.
Yeah.
But the number one thing he tells people is when you're addicted to some sort of substance, whether you're addicted to gambling, pornography, or something, there's some sort of pain you're dealing with that you're trying to mask with that substance or pornography or something, right? So always tells people, and he often recommends the gym for when you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling lonely, when you're feeling vulnerable, whenever it's something, you have to channel that into something productive. So a lot of these people who are listening to this podcast, they might not have the goal of being, Mr. Olympia, but they might watch your workout video, watch your Instagram, look at that and be like, wow, that's cool. So it's like you said, like, you obviously want to motivate other bodybuilders, but you're motivating a lot of people just be the best versions of themselves.
Exactly. And then if you look on my Instagram, it's never bashing anything or anything. It's always positive stuff. But yeah, I just want to see people happy and being the best versions of themselves and just, just enjoying life. And the thing is, I think it's a very simple concept. I think people get misguided by others when we talk about having an ego or not being humble or something like that. It's great to be confident in yourself. It's very important because like you were saying, a lot of people deal with issues, with personal issues, and so they tend to go a bad route, whether it's drinking or drugs, like you said, pornography or whatever it is. So what keeps me confident, that's why I said I have to be driven every day to better myself because it keeps me confident. If I go to the gym and I train and I gave my all, no matter what my goal is, being Mr. Olympia or not, that's going to build some confidence. If I do what's right and I Steve was asking, if there's someone that's big, like my neighbor is yelling or something, if I can pray for them, if I can smile at them and say, hey, have a great day. And then, like, they in turn, like, smile and say, oh, thank you. Like, that builds confidence in me, knowing that, like, I'm better than someone else. So try that. You know, try being kind to others. Even when people are, like, rude to you, be kind to them back and just go, I know I made an impact on that person's life. And that builds confidence in yourself. And don't feel sorry for being confident. You know, take pride in it. Don't be prideful. Stay humble. Be confident. That makes sense.
Suffocate them in kindness. I love it, Derek. Great
Yeah.
message. For your host, Trevor Kouritzin, for my co-host, Steve Smeet, and for our special guest, IFBB Pro, Derek Lunsford. This has been another episode of Evolutionary Radio. Live your life. Look good doing it. Thank you for listening.